We're back with another video today. We're going to go through the top 5 mistakes I see with back mainly. Just train your chest, train your shoulders, quite easy because you can see them, even your arms. But when it comes to your back, we obviously can't see our back. And especially when you've got a training partner, then that can obviously be a benefit. But I want to go through some of the common things that I see. So the first thing I often see is neglecting training your rear delts. And when we think about rear delts, so many people will just do a few dumbbell flies. Now, there are 3 ways that you can train the rear delt. The first one is external rotation. So, I mean, you can do it with a band, but unfortunately, this is the only band in the gym and you definitely can't rotate that. So you need a thin band. But if you look to the video I've just attached here, that's how you would do it with a band. Or you can alternatively do it with a dumbbell, keep this elbow parallel with the shoulder and just literally rotate like that. And that will strengthen up the back of these muscles and obviously around the AC joint as well, so that it'll improve you when it comes to shoulder pressing. So I mentioned that you can do it through external rotation. You can also do it through a cable fly, which is basically shoulder adduction. So you are moving. The shoulder has 2 functions. It has extension and adduction, so you're moving your elbows to the side. Now, the reason I would do it with dumbbells is the minute that you get down here with a dumbbell, there's little to no work. So the only time that you're working with the dumbbells is at the top. Whereas if you line up, now you can add cuffs if you want to start moving a bit more load, because you are going to be limited if you just use the balls. And when you get into this position now, I'm being challenged, whereas if it was dumbbells, I wouldn't be. And you only need, I mean, what have I got on there? 8 kilos, maybe work up to about 12 kilos max. So you do not need much load with that at all. And then the last way that we can bring in the rear delts is through shoulder extension, which is the elbows working in front. So with a T-bar row, something chest supported, make sure that you're not like rolling too far down, and make sure that, I mean, I see a lot of guys rounding like that. They're not, make sure you're using the chest to brace against this pad. And then the elbows are obviously in front and coming back. Now, one thing I'd say with this as well, I see so many guys worrying about getting their elbows too far back. Load that as heavy as you can, because you want to make sure that you're challenging in that lengthened position. And we've just gone over rear delts and we've just gone over external rotation. You're going to do quite a light load with that. Whereas this, we want to be bringing in your traps, your rhomboid, your rear delts, and we want to be hammering them with as much load as we can when it comes to stuff like that. So I do the external rotation, mobility work, rear delt, just a bit of isolation work. This would be like your bread and butter. Next thing, lat pull down. We often see what I like to call sort of as a chest cave. So you set up, and then as you go into it, you kind of slouch down and you just lift it down. So the 2 biggest things that are so important with a lat pull down, I want your chest facing the ceiling and I want your upper back almost facing the floor. So as you drive the elbows down, then you're connecting with your back. Whereas if you're rounded in this position, not only are you going to shorten the range of motion, but you're not going to be able to go through shoulder, basically scapular protraction. So that position that you see there, where you're almost like shrugging backwards, you can't really contract on the way down. Third mistake I see when it comes to cable row, a couple of things with this. The first one is people sort of bringing it really high up instead of bringing the shoulders back and down and driving the elbows low into the pocket. And then the second thing is, I don't really like this attachment because it's so narrow. It doesn't align with where I want my elbows and wrists to be. Instead, I would like something like this, or a bit more of a wide, it doesn't necessarily have to be this, but I prefer a grip like this, where I can make sure that as it, you can see it's shoulder width, so I can bring my elbows into a position like that. And it's just a little bit more natural. Next thing that I see is people neglecting building their lower back. So everyone talks about lats. Everyone's obsessed with growing their lats. I've covered upper back. I've covered a little bit of lats with the pull downs and the row. I want to talk about back extension, building your spinal erectors. So often I see people come onto the hyperextension. If you go too high, you can see how limited my range is. Likewise, if you go far too low, I'm now literally bringing in all hamstrings, which is fine if you want to do it on a leg day, but we're talking about back here. So you want to ideally be in a position when you're setting up where you have your knees underneath the pad and you want to have your hips above the pad, and you want to have kind of a soft bend in the knee, only a touch, not like obviously a ridiculous bend, but you can see there just a soft bend. And I like to use a bar in this position. I don't like when people use dumbbells, plates. A couple of reasons. One, to start with, it's all right, but they are quite cumbersome. And two, when it comes to progressing, eventually you want to be lifting ideally 30, 40, 50 kg on this and progress it. If you can't do that with a 50 kg dumbbell, you can't do it with a 50, there's no 50 kg plate, so you can't progress it on that front. So always make sure that you're putting in some form of hyperextension or extension of the spine. You could also put in an RDL as well. Now, this is the most important thing for growing your lats. I cannot emphasize this enough when it comes to a dumbbell row, sort of cable, any row variation, right? I personally, with the dumbbell row, I like having a square platform. Some people prefer 1 foot backwards, 1 foot forwards. I prefer having a solid base like this. Now, so many people, as they yank the weight up, they almost have this twisting motion, almost like that, as if it's like really hitting the obliques. We want to make sure that we keep the shoulders square to the ground. If you cannot keep the shoulders square to the ground like this, and you're moving it upwards and rotating round, the weight is far too heavy. Like all you're going to do, twist round, shift it up, and you're not getting your elbow back further as well. So there's two main components when you're doing a row. We want to basically, the scapula, the shoulder blade, is going to protract away, and it's going to retract going that way. And that's literally the row in a nutshell. So if you can't do that and you're yanking the weight, then it's far too heavy. If you found that you've been making some of these mistakes, then now's the time to correct them. I'm going to be doing it for chest, shoulders. I'm going to be doing the top 5 things for all of the different body parts. So if you want to see them, then make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like and share this video if you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, then comment down below.